how do you find the motive for your character within a film script? And also, how does that motive help you whenever you're on set trying to film that script? Well, motive is extremely important because it is the way in which we are accomplishing our goals, and it is distilling the specific clear actionable steps to those goals. Okay, and so the way that you break this down, this is how you break down your motive for your character. You use a simple lingual algorithm, and this is imperative verb, direct object, and optional explanation. Okay, now what does that mean? Don't worry, you're going to know in just a second. So to start out with, let me just break that down really quick. So with the imperative verb, that directs the character to action. Okay, so that's going to be the extent of save, get, help, hide. You get the gist. Now, direct object refers to the specific task, mission, or activity that needs to be completed. It is the thing that the character must act upon, okay? And now what's important about this is in this direct object, you're not actually breaking this down in a way that would help describe it. I know that sounds strange, but this is going to be a throw off, right, to your character. So it could be it, them, us, right? These types of statements where it just implies familiarity. You already know. You know what you're talking about. So it's a simple response to this question that you might have been asked, or what you believe based on what you're convinced of in that moment. And then next, so the optional explanation explains the reason behind the action. This is providing motivation and context for why the action is important. And so this is going to be from, to, for. Okay, so whenever you get these sentences and you get all the rest of it behind it, which is more of the detail and your understanding what's happening in that moment, but this is what's driving us. So save us from, and then get them to, and then hide it for. Okay, so in this, let's just go with the get them to. If I had to get them to the airport, and then there's going to be more information that you already know about, but that's what is your motive at that specific moment. Get them to the airport. Okay. Next is, or it could even be beyond that. If you don't want to only break that down to a noun, then you could then break it down to what the airport means to your character. It could be to the extent of get them to safety, so that way they can blah, 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 blah. You get the gist. Next would be hide it for, right? Hide it for the right moment to surprise her. Right? So it's giving all of this information, but the most important thing that you're focused on in this moment is hide it for. Okay, so the action and the goal is really driven within that. Hide it for, and you want this outcome, right? This is really what it's all about, and that optional explanation should really either describe what it is the outcome that you want, or the outcome that you are trying to avoid, which is like what we've been creating with the example for the actor's algorithm. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos, especially starting with the actor's algorithm, you should go watch that now. But for our character, the motive that they have, which would have come from what they're convinced of, what you're convinced of is distilled from their backstory, and you get your backstory from your action statement. And so for this character, that would be save us from being stranded at the beach. Okay? And so this is what they are trying to avoid. They are speaking about the group, so yourself, your spouse, and your child, and why you are trying to accomplish exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And this is connected with what we're convinced of, right? We need the key to leave the beach. And that is what I'm convinced of in that moment. And it's from the backstory of I took the family to the beach for a relaxing day, set everything up, went and took a swim, and then whenever it was time to leave, I checked my backpack, couldn't find the key, realized the last place I had it was in my pocket before I went swimming. And now I'm convinced that, or I think that I've lost it. So that's why I am running, the action statement is running frantically back into the ocean. okay? And your motive for doing this, okay? This is why we are breaking this down. It's save us from being stranded at the beach. You're not just going there to find the key. There's a reason. This is the reason for everything that we do. You have a motive, right? And so this step provides a conscious motive that drives the character's actions, linking immediate tasks to these broader goals. And think of this as a distillation of the character's broader goal into clear, actionable motive, right? So the goal at hand for this character is to now save us from being stranded at the beach. That is the what they're actually focused on. So even though there's a set all around and there's crew members right behind the camera checking to make sure that you look great on camera and that the scene and the background and everything is right, and they say action, okay? You shouldn't be focused so much on the lines. You should be focused on this motive. Save us from being stranded at the beach. That's what's most important right now. That's what we need to get. That's what we need to take care of. I have a spouse and a child out on the beach in the hottest part of the day during summer, and there's no clouds, and it is ridiculously hot. And I just realized that I don't have the key. And the last place I saw it was in my pocket before I went swimming. Yeah, I need to save us from being stranded at the beach, because this has now turned into a very real situation, especially if the beach that you went to was off the beaten path. Okay, and so this motive is going to drive everything throughout the scene, and it's going to push you step by step to have that genuine emotion, that genuine feeling running through you. So it doesn't matter if the director calls action. It doesn't matter at all, because you feel this. You're focused on the save us from being stranded at the beach. So it just, in a way, I know this sounds strange, and it should feel this way. But this is what makes it almost feel like you're performing in a documentary, because you are fully in. I mean, you are all in, and that's what we want. That's why the best actors, they have that. There's an illusion that you go in and you feel like somehow the curtains have been pulled back and you're watching someone's true, genuine life, and that's the most important thing. That's so key, and this is how we build this from the start. And that's the best part, because it's all coming from the same action statement. So it's building from that action statement to our backstory, to what we're convinced of that moment, to the motive. And it all flows, okay? And so now if you want to see how to use this throughout the scene and throughout while you're filming on set, then you need to watch this video, which is all about your wants and your needs.